Introducing SupportClip, the new back of panel fixing clip from SupportClip. It is for ceramic and stone panel installation from 9 to 20 mm thick. There are two types of support clips, the standard, which is shown in this video and are suitable for mechanical fixing of product, and the slimline version for use with glue on the panel also. The cutter is a fully adjustable machine cutting from 0 to 10 mm joints. The bottom cut in the panel is set by the cutter machine, and the top cut is adjustable as shown. This shows the cutter installing the bottom cut in the panel and showing also how the clip sits into this cut and the center line of the cut. Here we are making the top cut in the panel, which will give a 3 mm joint between panels when they are erected. You can see the gauge on the side of the cutter set to 3 mm. We are placing 2 by 3 mm spaces between the two panels to show the accuracy of the cutting machine, even when using 3 clips per panel. Here we are filling the top cuts in the panel with epoxy and applying a small amount to the clip also. When installing, always push the clip to the back of the cut and strike off the excess epoxy. Line up the middle of the clip with the center line to ensure perfect placement to accept the panel above when it is fitted. Always push the clip flat down to the panel when epoxying into place to get it into parallel with the face of the panel. Here we have the bottom fixings in place to accept the 1200 by 1200 by 15 mm porcelain panel, which is 54 kilos in weight. The fixings have been aligned on the wall with the aid of shims where necessary. It is best practice to install the clips into the top of the panels at least 4 hours prior to installing to allow proper curing of the epoxy. Here we are installing the panel into position and securing it by the top fixings, which will carry the load of the panel. We are using green wall plugs into the concrete block and 50 mm by 12 gauge self-tapping screws to secure it back. These screws are tapered so as to finish just under flush with the surface of the clip when installed. The plumb position of the panel is achieved when needed with the use of shims and the properly tightened up with the screw gun. We are installing the second panel, a 1200 mm by 600 mm by 15 mm thick panel, onto the top of the clips of the bottom panel. The spaces to facilitate the 3 mm joint are in place, and by the same process as before, we will secure and plumb it. The filling of the bottom clips with silicone will allow for movement of and expansion of the panel if need be. Here the third panel is being installed. It is another 1200 by 1200 by 15mm panel, and it is being installed the same as the previous panels below, with the 3mm spacers, and secured to the substrate with 3 fixing screws to carry the weight of itself. At this point we are now 3 meters above the starting point, which is 50mm off the floor, and there is no download as all the panels are carrying their own weight. We are getting ready to put on the next panel, which will bring the height of the wall to 3.6 meters high, which is the considered floor height of a building. If you go higher, you should at this point completely restart again and leave a break in the cladding. That is, use the starting clips again. If you are using the slimline support clip as an aid to hold the glue or epoxy, it is suggested that you only use 1 clip per panel. This gives a secure fixing into the panel and substrate. We are installing the top panel on this display here, and the height of it can be seen in comparison to the height of a person. The support clip system lends itself to be used also as with a substructure, and in this case a 41 by 41 by 2.5mm unistrut channel was used. The same method of fixing applies, and that is that the fixing must be tightened back to the channel to carry their own weight. Here you can see both sets of erected panels with the spacers removed. The 3.6 metre wall was erected by 2 men in 1 hour from after installing the starting brackets. The system itself suits all types of panels, not only the big ones. It makes a secure fixing for the panel to secure it to the substrate and to prevent the panels from falling off if installed properly. A complete sheet of instructions comes with every box of clips sold.